Hello, this is Jess with her Mood Mentor, and today I'm chatting with Pascaline. She is in Turkey, and she has been one of my coaching clients for 3 months, working together to reduce and manage her cycle symptoms. She's going to chat with us a little bit about her experience with PMDD. Hi, Pascaline.
Hi. How are you?
Doing great, doing great. Excited to hear more in depth about your story, and I'm excited to share it with others because it's been such an amazing transformation.
Same. Very excited to share too.
Yeah. So why don't we just start hearing a little bit about what was going on before we started working together? What were you experiencing? How long was this happening? All those juicy
Mm.
details.
So I'd say I've always had PMDD. I just didn't know I had it, and I had it especially when I was in my I would say from 18 years old to 27, because after that I had my kids, and so because I was um, pregnant for a big part after my
Mm.
27 to my 30th, I was kind of okay. And after that, it came back. After I stopped breastfeeding, it started to come back, and it got very, very, very bad. It would get to a point where I was getting depressed, really, and I had terrible negative thoughts.
Mm.
2 weeks out of the month, sometimes much more than 2 weeks, because unfortunately my cycles were very long. Sometimes they would go all the way to like 42 days, 45 days. Once I even saw 70 days. Okay. So like that
Mm.
was crazy. So yeah, I always had very big problems with my cycles. That's why also all my children are IVF.
Mm.
And yeah, so this negativity that was really like putting me down every 2 weeks. Basically, I had just 2 weeks in the month where I was my normal, calm, nice, lovely self, and then it was just terrible. I mean, terrible. I looked like a crazy witch sometimes. I mean, at least that's how I was seeing myself.
Mm.
And it was really yeah, it was really, really tough to deal with that type of anger. I had so much anger.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Yes, I
Yeah.
understand.
So, yeah.
So what was kind of the turning point that really set you to reaching out for support from an integrative practitioner like myself?
I think it was last year, because I feel like it got worse the last 2 years. And I was starting to research, okay, severe PMS. Why am I getting this crazy PMS compared to my friends? I would kind of they would be like, oh, I'm PMSing, and then it would be 2 days and they would be fine. But me, my whole mood, everything would just go from here to like crash down, right? So
Mm.
I started to research on Google, Instagram, everything really. And then on Instagram, I found out about you and about PMDD, and I was watching your videos, and I was like, wait, I think this may be just what I had, because I was like, I don't think this is PMS anymore. And the first time I heard about PMDD was really with you, where I was like,
Mm.
okay, this is definitely closer to what I'm feeling every month than everything my friends are talking about, this
Mm.
PMS that lasts 3 days and they're a little bit upset. I mean,
Mm.
and I would have like crying spell. Like I would just, there'd be like 1 or 2 days where I'd just be crying and crying. And it was
Mm.
almost like I would find a reason to cry. So like I would like make sure like make create some sort of drama
Mm.
and just like let it all out. It was such a weird psychology. So
Mm.
when I found out about PMDD through your videos mostly, yeah, I felt like it was definitely what I was suffering from. And I felt some sort of relief. I was like, okay, maybe someone knows what's happening here, because each time I had asked the doctor, and even about my long cycles, nobody could ever give me an answer. They would always be like, oh, this is how you are, this is how you were born. But yeah, that's not really helpful.
Mm.
So,
Mhm.
So yeah, so this last few years, and I think really after I discovered your channel and your Instagram especially, it kind of put more questions into my mind, and really,
Mm,
okay, maybe I can look for help, you know.
okay. Yes, yeah, and we had such a great experience together. I would love, we kind of saw what was going on, how it led up to us working together, and then, what was your experience going through the coaching process and how did that change things for you? I know, but they don't
Well,
know.
so for me, well, first it brought so much awareness. Okay, so that's really the number one thing. I remember our first session. You asked me to like focus on one area, and I was like, okay, it's gonna be sport most probably because I need to move more and stuff. But then when you asked me more and more question, I could see you were leading me towards nutrition more. And I was like, well, I'm fine. I eat. I'm good. No problem. But then I realized, okay, maybe you have a point. And let's try this nutrition thing. Maybe I am doing something wrong. And then when we went through the whole process, I realized, oh my God, that I actually was not taking care of myself at all when it came to food, even though I thought I did because I do have a big appetite. But I would eat at such weird time of the days, and I would wait to be starving, which would trigger even more anger and less balance. So that was a really big thing for me, this coaching, because I realized that I was doing so many things wrong when it came to nutrition, an area
Mhm,
that I actually thought I was doing fine. So it was very interesting. That was one thing. And the second thing for me was the negative thoughts, because I remember like that was really something that was bothering me the most, and I downloaded your workbook, the workbook ANT, so automatic negative thoughts. That's how you call it, right? and
mhm,
um and that was super helpful. That was super helpful because it gave me so many tools to just apprehend, or like to, is that English, to
mhm,
apprehend, like to understand the negative thought and to just kind of put it in perspective and be like, okay, go to your corner over there, don't disturb
mhm,
me. So I
mhm,
had more control over my negative thoughts. I mean, I don't want to say that, oh, it's magical, it happens in 1 second. No, it doesn't. It
mhm,
takes time and it takes practice, and it really takes practice. Like,
mhm,
you have to really go through the workbook, find the solutions that work best for you. I really think maybe what worked for me wouldn't work for someone else. Like for
mhm,
me, there are like two that I really like use,
mhm,
and those
mhm,
two really work. And it's wonderful because it's like it's like a toolbox basically. I feel like I have more tools to deal with this horrible negative thoughts that just like crash me down every month.
mhm,
So that's
mhm.
really nice.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
seemed like between the nutrition factor, because that had a big impact on your moods as well and your just resilience overall. But then when we built in some of these additional tools from that inner critic workbook, you really, things shifted for you very quickly. It was so incredible to watch. And, this wasn't just impacting you. You're not isolated in your existence in the world. So can you tell us a little bit
Mm.
about like, how did this play out in your life, these small changes that you made that ultimately had a big impact on how severe your symptoms were presenting, but what was kind of the bigger picture result of that? Obviously you felt better, you felt more in control, you felt more empowered like you're saying, but how did this play out in your day-to-day life?
Well, first, I'd say it did help me with my children because to have that awareness to just know, okay, this is because you have PMDD. This is not because they're driving you absolutely nuts. This is not because you are a bad mom. This is not that. It's because you have PMDD. So it takes a lot of the guilt away. And also, it helps you just take a step back and be like, okay, what do I need to do? I need to take my supplement. I need to eat properly, and I need to have some sort of activity. And also, I need to sleep at the right hours and stuff. So, with my kids, once I am, especially in the phase where I have the PMDD, during the 2 weeks, I'm good. I'm a little bit more flexible. But during those 2 weeks, I'm more strict with myself, and I really like try to feed myself, and then my kids too. I realized I'm feeding my kids so much better now. Like they eat more how do you say that, like full or complete meal, you know, with like
Mm-hmm.
protein, veggies and everything, and it's a bit more in the right order. And so being this way first for, I mean, adjusting my nutrition, also adjusted theirs, and also being more calm, of course, for them, it is so much better. You know, it's just such a better way of living this way. For example, right now I am in my phase of PMDD.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, of course, there are times that I am still like, you know, I'm still working through it, and I'm still learning, especially with the negative thoughts. But I noticed with my children, I mean, knock on wood, I am so much calmer, and I'm so
Mm-hmm.
much more relaxed, and they're not the one, like they're not making me like they don't trigger me at all anymore. It's very interesting. They're
Mm-hmm.
not this, if something triggers me, it's not going to be them anymore, because I have like adjusted so much in my mind, you know, like yeah, on that subject. So yes, and in my relationship too with my partner, the fact that there's this awareness of like, hey, look, I'm getting to my PMDD time, so please be nice, be sweet. And so it opens the communication, and then he knows that okay, those are not the days to like bring up a difficult subject, or those are not the days to keep her starving or something, you know. I mean, like at
Mm-hmm.
least where he knows that I have to have my schedule in order to like just be better, you know.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, you're able to be more vulnerable with him too and share that awareness. And I mean, it's been so amazing to watch how all of these things have changed and even how you've been able to reduce your length of your cycle, right? You weren't when since we've worked
Yeah.
together, you haven't been having these long cycles, which ultimately draw
Yes.
out those symptoms.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I forgot to mention this, but this was actually the first amazing change for me, because I couldn't believe my mind. I remember when I first got my period, I think I got it after 31 days or 32 days. And for
Mm-hmm.
me, this is like amazing, right? And I was like, oh, I got my period. What? That's crazy. So I realized that really, if I, and that was very encouraging for me, because to see result in just one cycle, that was just one cycle, and that suddenly I went from 38 days to like 31, 32, 31, 32. It's manageable, you know, it
Mm-hmm.
makes your symptoms much shorter. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't dealing with 3 weeks of PMDD. I was dealing with, okay, 2 weeks. And also I was learning to deal with those symptoms. But to have my cycle just reduced like this was just a miracle. And then the second cycle, it was just 29 days. So that was even more mind blowing. So yes, that was really rewarding actually, and really encouraging. And
Mm.
it's still what keeps me, even though our coaching now is finished, it's really to see that such a difference in such a short time, like keeps me really like, okay, this is what you got to do. And so it keeps me going, you know.
Yeah, I remember you saying that, like, wow, it's so encouraging to be able to see these results so quickly and motivating. So you know how it is when you're living with these symptoms and it's so debilitating, it's so consuming, and you're feeling so victimized by them and so hopeless. We've both been in that place. Um, do you have a message to share for people who are living through that month after month and feeling like they have no options, feeling like they have to just continue to suffer like this? I mean, what would you say to yourself 5 months ago, 6 months ago, 5 years ago, even with the perspective that you now have?
Oh, definitely. I would even talk to my 18 years old self, you know, and be like, look, there are things to do. You don't have to suffer, literally suffer every month, you know, and go from being this, because I am by nature someone who's enthusiastic and positive, but go from this positive person to this nightmare, you know, really nightmare. And I would just say, educate yourself or get a coach that helps you educate
Mm,
yourself, because there are so many ways to really minimize the symptom, or at least understand them and be aware, and then make the situation just much more manageable. And really, like, I have so much empathy for people who have this disorder, because I mean, I see even some women like being completely depressed and having even thoughts of committing suicide and stuff. And that really saddens me so much, because this society, like now, I mean, nobody knows about PMDD. It's crazy, you know, it's crazy. Nobody knows, and families don't know. And so I would really love for the message to be more spread, and like for parents also to know, hey, you know, your daughter, if she's feeling really bad 2 weeks out of the month, there's a problem, and you need to help her, and you need to help her through a healthy lifestyle. And so, and I believe, like, I mean, in Europe too, of course, huh? But in America, I see the way sometimes people, uh, the nutrition in America, you know, there's a
Mm.
lot to be revised. I mean, from a European point of view, sorry guys,
Bring it
but
on, bring it
I
on.
really think it's so important that people really understand this is real. It's
Mm.
not some girls going crazy through her teenagers like year, you know. It's not. It's real, and it's really damaging, and it really can stop you from accomplish things in life.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're like that 2 weeks a month when you're young, especially, and you were like that through school and through your first job and all, oh, it can be so discouraging. So what I would really like for people to know is that there are solutions, and they're not that hard. Like once, and especially, I mean, really me, you know, I'm very grateful to you, because I felt so supported, and I felt so guided, and so it wasn't hard. You know,
Mm.
I mean, no, it really wasn't hard. It was actually really nice. I was like, oh, okay, I can do this like that and like this. And it was just beautiful to learn a new way of living with this disorder. Because
Mm.
yes, I cannot fix it, but I can completely get on top of it a little. And of course, I still have a couple of days where really it's difficult, but
Mm.
it's just a couple of days. It's not a couple of weeks anymore. So it's so wonderful to just finally be like, okay, I got you, and I can like control and just be a bit more in, yeah, a bit more in control of my life, really.
Mm. Yeah, and in the coaching process, we're working together. We only focused on one core area. We built in some action
Mhm.
steps around other related core areas, like the automatic negative thoughts thing kind of falls into stress, a stressor, but we really honed in on one area, and you saw all of those changes just from that area, when there's 6 other areas that we can, dig into and make
Exactly.
changes. But the process guides us to a pressure point area. And we were really accurate with yours to be able to get these quick results like this. But it's such a helpful story. Um, everything that we went
One
through.
more thing I'll add.
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
want to add just one thing about this. It's true, like we only worked on one area, but it was so interesting to see how this one area actually was major, because it impacted all the other areas. And then I had more energy. So then I was like, okay, I can start doing sports now. And so I signed up to a gym now. Yeah, finally. So I'm actually going and I'm doing more sports. So it really like made me feel better about so many different areas in my life, and that was
Mm-hmm.
just one core area. So it just shows it's all so connected. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
just so connected. And that was also beautiful to get that awareness of like, oh wow, it's also connected. If I feed myself, that means I take care of myself and I don't like sacrifice myself, you know, and then I have more energy, and it's just such a nice circle. And then I do more things for myself actually, and then obviously I'm happier, you know. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful circle that gets going, you know, once you work on, even if it's just one core area.
Exactly. And that's exactly what we want to see. And that's why this protocol is designed in that fashion, because we want you to get the fastest results possible. And we want that core area to impact the others. So your story is so inspiring and just such a good example of how this protocol can so quickly change things for you, for us, for everyone in general. It's also so interesting to think about the nutrition aspect because I had the same experience as you where I was like, I think I'm doing well in all these areas, but I didn't have the education that was specific around PMDD, that was specific around also just reproductive health in general. So what I thought was really healthy wasn't, there was just a lack of knowledge that was perpetuating symptom presentation in both of our experiences, where when we addressed that very quickly, we saw the results. Um,
Mm.
but
Oh, exactly.
it's so amazing. It was so wonderful working with you. Your
Thank
story
you.
is so
Same.
beautiful. Yeah, and thank you for sharing
Thank
and raising
you.
hope for others.
No, of course. And I share a lot actually, even on my inner circle and my friends. Now I talk about it so much more because I also want them to be aware, when I'm bad like this, it's not a small little PMS going on.
Mm.
And I have actually reached to other women who also suffer from PMDD, and it's just, I mean, I can see it, in their eyes. They're like, yes, me too, and it's just nice to be able to spread awareness, really. And
Mhm.
like you said, in some ways knowledge too. I
Mhm.
wish what you're teaching could be taught in school. I'm not kidding. Like, I wish that it would just be taught in school. I think it would be so helpful for every woman, really. Mm.
Yeah, I mean, once you start to have this experience where you're changing your relationship with your cycle and you're improving and reducing your symptoms and you're managing them better, there's kind of an element of frustration and anger about, wow, I suffered for that long, that badly, when I could have done these things
Yeah.
20 plus years ago. And how would my life have been different if I would have had that education? I mean, this is a serious conversation that we're having.
It is. Yeah, very much so. But I
Mm.
hope, with people like you who also like are using social media so well, I must say, because I love your videos. And
Thank
I
you.
hope that no, really, I do. They're great. I think you're so creative and you're fun, and so I hope it's going to reach even more people, and especially young women, so they can like do that switch, early on in life.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
Well, we're out here, we're trailblazing the way. And thanks so much for coming today and sharing your hopeful message and your story and your experience. I know that people are going to resonate with this and it's really going to help them not feel as alone and just generally more hopeful about their future living with PMDD.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me.
Aw.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.